um, food from the garbage, and you uh, wipe it off or something, and then you refry it to make it clean, to make it edible. So you refry it, put some soy sauce, and heat it up, and that's reused food. And that's sadly what a lot of kids eat to survive. Um, yeah, it's really, really sad. So
Welcome to Hopecast, where we share hope and inspiration about what God is doing at Blessings of Hope in our personal lives, in our community. I'm your host, David Lapp. Today I'm joined by Kathy Short and Ana Cozzone. Ana is from Nehemiah Community Development Center in the Philippines. So, good morning, Ana. I guess it's probably evening for you. Uh,
yes,
so just so we're clear here, you already live today, right? Is that the way that works? Like you're having tonight?
yes, it's 7 o'clock in the evening here in Manila.
Okay.
So
And
good morning to you.
was today a good day? Like everything went well today?
It was pretty productive day.
Well, good. That we
Pretty
don't have to worry
eventful.
about anything. The rest of our day is going to be fantastic as well. When we can trust God,
Absolutely.
we can walk through that. Bible
Yes.
verse for the day is out of Romans 8:28, and we know that all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are the called according to His purposes. And there's so much confidence in that, knowing that God called us for His purposes, and that we can walk in that.
Yes. Yes.
As we get started here, I'd like to hear from you, Kathy, a little bit how this relationship developed. What made you say we're going to send some food to the Philippines? Just talk a little bit about that.
Okay. So my husband and I moved here to Pennsylvania, Lancaster area in 2016,
Okay.
and from Western New York. And I wasn't familiar with Blessings of Hope, but I kept hearing it. And so when we had the distribution center in the city, I lived close by, so I
Okay.
started volunteering as soon as it opened.
Yeah.
And I still didn't really understand the ministry even at that point, but I just knew you were feeding the hungry. So that's a real important thing for me, is to feed the hungry and take care of those that need help. And so then Ana and I met through our church. She was home. Her and her husband were home on furlough for like 6 months, I think, last year. And so
Yeah.
we got to become friends, and you just meet somebody and you just click right away.
Yep.
And
Yep.
Anna and I clicked right away and became very good friends. And so we were just talking, and she was sharing what they do there, and it just really struck a chord in my heart. And so then she was telling me about these boxes, and what are they called?
Well, in the Philippines, we call them balikbayan boxes. They're specifically huge boxes for people who are from other countries to send it to their relatives and their loved ones in the Philippines.
So she connected me with a man in Lidditz that is from the Philippines, and he sends these boxes. And so we connected with him, and he was willing to send boxes for us. And so then we had fun shopping at Blessings.
Yeah.
Anna and I would go, and we
Yeah.
would fill up carts and fill up the boxes. And so I think at this point we've sent maybe close to either 9 or 10 boxes
Okay.
to the Philippines.
Wow. So Anna, what's your ministry in the Philippines? Like when you receive those boxes in the Philippines, what's your mission over there?
So receiving those blessing boxes it's just like Christmas every other month for us. We have our ministry, we have two programs. One is our residential care. We shelter boys ages 13 and above in transitional independent living. So children who are neglected or former homeless children. So we provide them shelter, school, and pretty much their everything that they need, their basic needs. The other part of our ministry is community outreach. And so we have two locations. One is in the landfill. So we serve 120 children who live in the landfill. through a feeding program and Bible studies. And then we also served 20 teenagers who were in street situations, whether they're employed in the streets or living on the streets. We do trauma-informed care with them. So when we get these boxes, we just distribute it to our communities, in the landfill, on the streets, and in our homes. So it's just a huge blessing for us.
So when you say you're taking food to the landfill, you're taking it to people that live in the landfill. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. I'm going to try not to cry at this part, but there is a community here that we serve, and it's about 600 families who live in the landfill. And so 90% of those families, they're employed in going through trash scavenging, so taking things from the trash and trying to sell things that they can, whether it's plastic or metal or things like that, and that's how they get by. And the community doesn't have any electricity or running water, and in this community, what's really heartbreaking is a lot of times the children or the people, they eat what's called, here we call it pug pug, which is food from the garbage, and you wipe it off or something, and then you refry it to make it clean, to make it edible. So you refry it, put some soy sauce, and heat it up, and that's reused food. And that's sadly what a lot of kids eat to survive. Yeah, it's really, really sad. So it's
That's incredible. So, Kathy, one of the comments I've heard that you think this is ironic that you're taking food that would have ended up in the landfill in America, we're sending it to the Philippines to serve people that live in the landfill.
Yes.
So
yes.
it's just
It's
incredible,
ironic, isn't it? I think that one of the whole key reasons for blessings is to keep food out of the landfill. And then I'm getting it, I'm taking it, and we're sending it to the landfill to feed people, which is cool.
Wow.
I love it.
Wow. So Ana, when you think, like, what made you decide that you want to invest your life in helping these types of environments or these types of families? Like, did you just wake up one morning and say, I'm going to go find people in the landfill and bring them food, or how did that all start?
right. So, well, I first started in 2016, and I was teaching children on the streets who were homeless. And the hope at that time was like the kids who were out of school and living underneath, the bridges and living on the sidewalks. It would have been nice for them to get some education, literacy, and Bible education. So I would meet in front of a 7-Eleven store, and I tried to teach them the basic literacy. I would teach them God's love, and in the process of that, I fell in love with them, and I realized that they really needed more than just um, ABCs and some scriptures. What they really needed was an actual degree and to get out of poverty. So, by miracles of God, we were able to rent our first community center in 2017, where 8 to 5 they would come in, and we hired a teacher at that time so they can get somewhat like a GED program. They can have a meal and they can shower in a safe place, because at that time on the streets they were showering in just really unsafe places, and they can wash their clothes, and ultimately they can know that the love of God, and that there's people who really care for them and value them, and who are safe adults for them. And then in that process of doing that for about a little bit over a year, we realized that they needed more than just a community drop-in center. So we noticed that we would make some progress, but one night of trauma on the streets, whether that was predators or violence of any kind, that really set them back in their development. So we said yes to being a 24/7 shelter for most of the homeless children here are boys. So we said, okay, we'll pick the ones no one wants. We'll get the ones that, even the police don't want, social services and family. And like, yeah, that was an adventure in the beginning for sure, just trying to figure it out.
Wow.
Well, I'm sure it was. But
Yeah,
it's amazing what can happen in someone's life if somebody believes in them. If they are hopeless and they are in a sense the outcasts of society, and someone steps in and believes in them and starts speaking hope into them, starts speaking life into them, it's just we've seen it here as well, where somebody can just be downcast, but if you start speaking life into them, how they light up, how they just change who they were and become who God called them to be.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I just, on the outside, on the streets, they're all dirty and this muddy faces, and just, I mean, even they would say we were treated less than dogs, or we were treated like trash. And so in them, they really thought that they are garbage. But just seeing, God's love for them, and that they have, being able to give them a chance
Mm-hmm.
and an opportunity. That's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you think about all the things that God's doing over the last number of weeks, months, years, is there a God story that really stands out, like a certain incident or a certain person that you want to share about?
I have so many, but I would say we have one boy who, from our street class, he 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 was probably the reason why we started to become a residential care. So in at my 7-Eleven street class, um, there was one day that two kids were kidnapped, one 8-year-old and one 10-year-old. So I noticed that they weren't in class that day. So when I asked around, it turned out that they were kidnapped by another homeless adult. And so it was really just a hard time, and working with their families, trying to go through the process of reporting them missing. And sadly, we didn't get a lot of help in finding two homeless children with who knows who took them, and in a city of millions, and no one was looking. And so, to be honest with you, that season I was ready to hang up my shoes and go back to the US. It was really hard to be that face to face with suffering, um, and just feeling helpless. And so, I just continued with my street outreach, and I just tried my best to teach our kids about stranger danger. But in a miracle, these kids, they ran away from their captors, and came back to our town, which is called Holy Spirit, Holy Spirit Town, Holy Spirit Drive. And so the story was they were taken 4 hours away, and they were forced to beg. And if they didn't make money that day, the boy who was older said that they would drown. This woman would take them to the beach, to the deep side of the ocean, and drown, and like put their head under the water. And so this boy, he was 10 at that time, he convinced the 8-year-old girl to run away. And, by God's grace, they ran away. And a policeman saw that they looked like they were lost. And then, the boy was able to tell them around where he lived, the city that he lived. So yeah, I mean, that's huge. Even if no one was looking for them, God was looking for them, and God sees. And so, yeah, he's the reason why we said, yes, they need residential care 24/7.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. So, Kathy, when you select food at Blessings of Hope, you put it in the box. What's the process to get it over to Ana and her team over there?
It's a process.
I'm sure it is.
We have to buy all non-perishables because it goes on a ship that takes about 2.5 to 3 months to get there.
Okay.
So it's like the slow boat to China kind of idea. And so we have to be very careful about what we choose. But we usually don't have any problem filling that box.
Yeah.
And there's no weight limit on the box, so we pack it as tight as. My husband is an expert packer, and he packs it. Let me tell you, when they get it, I don't think there's like 1 inch to spare.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It is packed to the rim.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just amazing.
Wow. Incredible. Well, we're going to wrap it up here. Thank you for joining us. If people want to be a part of your ministry and what you're doing, what's a way that they can sow into what you're doing? Do you have a website or a place that people could send donations to, or what's the best way for people to get involved in what you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. They can look into our website, nehemiahphilippines.org. And then on there, there's ways to partner financially to give online. We partner through Globe International, a sending agency. So that's one way to partner. And even just contact us if there's information that they want, or if we have a prayer team that if they want to partner that way, we meet regularly, once a month to do that. We have our US ambassadors. Kathy is there, that we meet, and I update them regularly. So that's one way to partner, to be an ambassador there for what we do and the children we serve here. Yeah, so our website, our email is on our website. So yeah, they can contact us there.
So NehemiahPhilippines.com.
.org.
.org, sorry.
Yeah.
Yep. Good. Anything you wanted to share here as we wrap this up?
I just want to thank Blessings of Hope for what you do, just a beautiful ministry, and all the people that you're serving, not just in the US, but all the way across the world. And even the idea of taking food from the waste and even bringing, like, serving our community in the landfill. That in itself, it just brings tears to my eyes. So I just thank you all for what you're doing and partnering with us.
You're welcome. Thank you. Anything you wanted to share, Kathy, before we wrap this up?
No. Also, I agree with Ana. Thank you that we have Hungry in this country, but we shouldn't just be limited to this country. Yeah. We have Hungry around the world. Yeah. So it's nice that we can reach out and partner across the globe. And also, Nehemiah has a big fundraising banquet every fall that people can find out about, and that's a way to learn more about the ministry.
Mm-hmm. When is that?
I'm not sure if the date's been set yet. Do you know, Ana?
The next one is on this coming November. I believe it's November 2.
Okay.
So they can find out more about that.
Information's on your website at nehemiahphilippines.org.
Our email is there, and definitely if they're interested in coming to the banquet, just email us and we'll get all the information that you need.
Okay.
To you.
All right, sounds good. Thank you. Thank you. Well, thank you for joining us on Hopecast today. I am your host, David Lapp, CEO of Blessings of Hope. To learn more about Blessings of Hope and how we serve the community, and check out our website, blessingsofhope.com. Learn more about Nehemiah Ministries in Philippines, go to nehemiahphilippines.org. God bless you, and remember that you can bring hope to the people that you meet every day.
Thank you for watching this episode of Hopecast. We hope you enjoyed it. Check out all the links in the description below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.